Hi, my name is Glenn Story. I'm the founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. I'd love for you to learn more about Patriot Mobile, www.patriotmobile.com/Gene V. More importantly, I'd like you to be a subscriber to his show. I mean, his Truthcast is amazing. And if you get to listen to some of them, you'll never go back. I really encourage you to come watch it.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
The Velvet Hammer.
The Velvet
Valentino
is with us this morning. Gene Valentino, live from Pensacola, Florida. Good morning.
Always good to be with my two buddies in the Pine Belt.
Absolutely. We're always happy to have you, as we normally do on Fridays. And of course, you know, Gene, there is no shortage of things to talk about. You know, I mean, goodness, where do we start? Well, yesterday, the president did say that he was nominating a guy named Kevin, Warsh?
Warsh, W-A-R-S-H. Yeah, good guy.
For the Fed chair. What do you think about him?
Well, I like him. He comes with he's talking about regime change of his own, which fell nicely on Donald Trump's ears. He wants to see the federal policy very much in keeping with Donald Trump. These were comments made by Warsh, not only when he was on the Federal Reserve, but before and after he was on the Federal Reserve. He realizes that the Federal Reserve interest rate policy formation is but a single element in an overall economy. And while the board controls it, they cannot manipulate bad behavior and affect an economy that that has so many other dynamics in place. You want to hold interest rates higher, it's usually because other factors are not in place. In the case of today under the Trump administration, there are enough incentives out there now that will force interest income to increase through the diversity, the multiplicity of business opportunities that are now out there. For example, seemingly unrelated but just as important, Trump accounts. As of this morning, over 1 million Americans have applied for children for the Trump account program, a program where a politician cannot raid or touch the money like they could with other agencies and departments, including Social Security. No, the politician can't touch these Trump accounts. And the Congress can't borrow against it either. That's what's key. It's purely your money. Now, if you're of a certain age, they throw you $1,000, but then the family can contribute. I think it's up to $5,000 more per year in the funding of these accounts. They take on a look and feel very much like an IRA. And as a result, you have a compound effect of money on a tax-free basis that gets you a full income, a full allocation, I say, to be able to fund 4 years of college when your child is of age to go. So I'm really excited about it. They've also put some wiggle room into this program that allows the beneficiary, the child, which is now an adult, presumably at 18 or after, to be able to borrow a portion of that money as the down payment on their next home. These are economic factors I mentioned a minute ago in the context of Kevin Warsh, where there's more creativity and flexibility in the in government's attitude to allow individuals to take back control of that which is theirs, starting with their money.
Yeah. I was listening to somebody talk, I think it was yesterday, that if you put, it was a small amount. It was, if you got the 1,000 in and you put another, I want to say like $1,000 a year until that child turned 18, that by the time they were retirement age, we're talking about $1 million. I mean, this is something that could be really great for the next generation of Americans. So my suggestion is that if you have a child or a grandchild that is born over the last year or so, go ahead and open one of these accounts and get that free $1,000. That $1,000 turns into a large sum of money if you don't even put anything else in it until they are retirement age.
Yeah, I got some notes here, Michael. The account is paid for by the United States government up to $1,000. The invested in select stocks and ETFs. It's a tax-free growth until the child is of age, basically 18 years of age. Parents can contribute up to $5,000 annually. Employers can contribute up to $2,500 annually. So you've got yourself a little bank here that's building on a tax-free basis. And by the time you're of age, you've got yourself a little nest egg that can help go towards some of these expenses you've worked so hard for. And many kids, wondering how their Burger King salary or their Denny's salary is going to ever be able to help them afford to pay for college.
I wonder if this, in the back of President Trump's mind, if this is not something that could be modified over the years to turn it into a retirement account and do away with Social Security. What do you think?
Well, there is a provision that allows it to roll into a true retirement account. And if you leave it alone, like you do your other retirement until age 60, you're talking $2,207,000. If you can't live off that, there's something wrong with you.
That's exactly right. So this is a great program by a man that understands finances and how money grows, compound interest over the years. And so, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's something that's so simple, but yet so powerful for a lot of people, for the next generation. We're looking out, instead of putting our generations below us in debt with federal government, borrowing, we're looking at putting them on the positive side. And I think this is a wonderful thing.
And now time out. Back to my perverse deep state thinking. Why haven't we done that up to now? Might it be that there's a force in this nation that's intentionally trying to prevent the have-nots from having? Isn't there a feeling that the deep state might be keeping you poor so that they can remain advantaged? Is that not what we're seeing going on in the protests and fights in Minneapolis? Now, there's no problem. Now, I'm not really switching gears on you, but deep state money funding these activist groups to fight ICE enforcement. Look, we've gone too far. No one's denying you the right to speak and protest and exercise your individual power of expression. But when you start intimidating, when you start getting in the face of law enforcement agents who are only trying to get the bad millions of people out of this country that Biden illegally allowed to come in here in the first place, it tells me there's a deep state action underway, as seen by this Ellison, Tim Waltz, and Jacob Fry in Minnesota. What a mess, Michael, that they would deny. Now, here, this morning's rumor is Tom Homan, who supposedly came in after Christie Noem to calm the waters, if you will, finds himself in the quandary. He may have walked out of that meeting yesterday or the day before with Attorney General Keith Ellison, thinking that Ellison was going to cooperate with the criminals coming out of the prisons and giving them back to ICE so ICE could get them the heck out of the country. That's the impression that Tom Homan had, because that's what he gave us on the news yesterday. However, this morning, Keith Ellison, the Attorney General, is backpedaling and saying, I never said that to Tom Homan. He's crazy. I never told him that that's what I agreed to. Well, what do you think ICE was in the streets for? To grab these illegals and to get them out of the country, because our own operating government wouldn't do so. And last night, Senator Lindsey Graham from the Carolinas announces that today he's putting on the Senate floor, as soon as they get through this this shutdown issue, legislation that penalizes. This is what you and I talked about. He's putting legislation in place to incarcerate, to make it a crime for these elected officials to deny the separation of powers clause that allows the federal government to come in, and that if the state and local governments don't cooperate with the feds in removing these bad illegals, then the elected officials at the state and local levels themselves go to jail. And that is music to my ears. We have a lot of local politicians and state politicians with an overstated sense of self-worth, thinking their governance of what they've been elected to supersedes the federal constitution of this nation.
Yeah, it's true. And, it's still illegal to harbor an alien in the United States, but it's not exactly designed to incarcerate or arrest or charge the elected officials who make the decision not to allow
It's
ICE.
gray. You're right. It's gray because the illegal action of harboring a felon or protecting a wrongdoer from from the law was never interpreted to mean that it applied to elected officials who are doing it. Now, here's exactly why I keep referring to constitutional amendments. Because when these bad elected officials come and go, you need a law that remains on the books that's not ambiguous. You need a constitutional amendment that survives long after you and I are gone to put these you-know-whats and these elected people in jail next to the very people they're trying to protect.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you, and so basically he's right. Lindsey Graham, I don't trust Lindsey Graham a lot of times. I'm not sure where he's coming from in some cases, but he's right about this. We need to have a mechanism where we can actually remove these people from office that are harboring illegals and not allowing the federal government to do their job, which, by the way, the Supreme Court has made very clear. In fact, it was the Obama administration, I believe, that sued Arizona and got a Supreme Court decision that said, hey, this is exclusively the business of the United States government to remove illegals from this country. You can't do it. And so
you just pointed out that the precedent is already there and it's being ignored. And that's what's more infuriating. Even though I still think constitutional amendments are needed to punish the wrongdoers in government themselves and the bad actors, it's nonetheless in place already through precedent. And I think there's going to be a price to pay. It's about as strange to me as snow ending up in Myrtle Beach this weekend and 9-degree temperatures in Myrtle Beach. I don't know. It's everything's a little upside down these days.
Well, thanks for joining us. We are out of time. If you can believe it, it went by very fast. Thank you so much, Gene, for joining us as you normally do.
No way. Let's keep going another hour.
I wish we could. All right. Thanks.
Love you all, buddy.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2024, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever.
For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great.
With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.